Sind Sie mit dem Trainerwechsel von Potsdam konfrontiert? Inwieweit war das vielleicht beim Training schon einschätzbar? Wie haben Sie sich darauf vorbereitet?
Ja, das ist eigentlich schwierig, weil man natürlich, es ist eine kurze Zeit seit dem Wechsel des Trainers und deswegen für uns nicht einfach abzuschätzen, wie die Mannschaft sich präsentiert wird. Wir haben uns sowohl mit den vorherigen Spielen als auch mit dem einen Spiel unter dem neuen Trainer beschäftigt und ja, hoffen, dass unser Fußball, egal was vom Gegner kommt, dann auch ausreichen wird, um dann die 3 Punkte heute hier zu halten.
Okay, super, vielen Dank, viel Erfolg. Wir sind hier heute mit Kurt Rust, dem Trainer von Potsdam. Und zwar sind Sie aktuell ja leider sowohl Sieg- als auch torlos in der Saison vorangeschritten. Wie ist Ihre Kabinenansprache heute bei dem Spiel gegen den Siebtplatzierten des TSG Hoffenheim? Ja,
die wird immer gleich bei mir. Wir möchten sehr mutig auftreten. Das haben wir schon das letzte Mal auch probiert. Und ich muss sagen, ich war 30 Minuten sehr überrascht, dass sie sich trotzdem sehr viel zugetraut haben. Ja, bei uns ist es einfach so, dass wir im letzten Drittel ein bisschen Probleme haben. Das haben wir jetzt immer trainiert und ich hoffe, dass man das heute schon wieder sieht.
Und beim Spiel wie heute geht es darum, eher das eigene Tor freizuhalten und kein Tor zu kassieren? Oder können wir vielleicht auch risikoreichere Angriffe von Ihnen erwarten?
Ja, das möchte ich unbedingt haben, weil wenn wir uns nur hinterstellen, werden wir auch keine Spiele gewinnen. Also deswegen werden wir sehen, wie mutig das wir sind. Das hängt ja dann auch für die Spielerinnen zusammen, wie das ganze Spiel läuft und so. Aber ich bin guter Dinge und ja, und ich will einfach einen mutigen Auftritt von uns sehen und ja, ich hoffe, dass wir überraschen können.
Also können Sie vielleicht noch mal ganz kurz zusammenfassen, was erwarten Sie vom Spiel und vielleicht auch von den einzelnen?
Ja, ich glaube, wichtig wird für uns sein, dass wir in der Defensive sehr gut stehen. Aber die Hoffenheimer sehr gut umschalten können, haben sehr schnelle Spieler, da müssen wir schon aufpassen. Aber wenn wir uns selber nichts zutrauen, dann weiß ich, dass wir auch verlieren. Also wir gehen sehr mutig an die Sache heran und ich hoffe, das sieht man dann am Platz.
Okay, vielen Dank, viel Erfolg heute.
Dankeschön.
Vanessa Dien, auf der Bank neben Platz mit der 1 Martina Tubekovic, mit der 5 Jamila Renking, mit der 16 Dominika Grabowska, mit der Nummer 18 Julia Higsberger, mit der 19 Marie Steiner, mit der Nummer 22 Sarita, mit der Nummer 27 Michelle Weiß, mit der Nummer 31 Jana Feldkamp und die 33 Fabian Dongus.
Danke, lieber Horst, und wir können so viel verraten, dass Chia Conley in die Startelf gerückt ist für Dominika.
Still without a win, a point, or even a goal in the 24-25 campaign, Turbine Potsdam retain the hope of getting off the mark in at least one of those departments against Hoffenheim as we're at the Dietmar Hopp Stadion to raise the curtain on match day 7 in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Is tonight the night that Turbine Potsdam will finally have something to show for their efforts at the end of 90 minutes of football, or can our hosts capitalise on their status as favourites to stretch their winning streak to 3? James Surrogate, your match commentator, delighted to have the pleasure of your company as always as we kick off the last weekend of domestic action before the first international break of the season. And Turbine Potsdam might be one of the few teams happy to have a chance to go back to the drawing board after what has been a rough re-entry to life in Germany's top tier. Even after a change in the coaching department, it really was the same old story for the traditional heavyweights, but the new man in charge, Kurt Rust, now believes he has a better idea of where his side are at and what needs to be done to get them up to scratch following the 3-0 loss to Essen last Friday. Tonight he believes they could be good for a surprise, providing they have the courage required. But given that Rust has now had a full week to work with his charges, his Hoffenheim counterpart, Theodoros Deris, admitted that he doesn't quite know what to expect from tonight's opponents, but stressed that his side need to concentrate on their own strengths. After another summer of turbulence, securing back-to-back wins for the first time this season against Bremen and Köln suggests Hoffenheim have found some sense of stability, thanks in large part to the magnificent form of former Potsdam striker Selina Cerci, who has produced 4 goals across her first 6 games for Hoffenheim. Tonight, The aim for Dedis' charges is to show off a greater sense of killer instinct as they look to close the gap further on the sides they ultimately have the aspirations of competing with for European qualification. The big question tonight is, can they do it at the expense of Turbine Potsdam's first win, first points or first goal of the season? The Friday night floodlights are on in Zinsheim. Ready to get the action underway on match day 7 in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Turbine Potsdam, 6 losses from 6 so far. Hoffenheim's record a little more pleasing with 3 wins and 3 losses. Tonight, they're looking to make it 3 wins from 3 in the month of October, heading in to that international break. A look at the team news, and there's just one change to the Hoffenheim side, which beat Köln 3-0 last weekend. Giacourli came off the bench at half-time and made a big impact with all 3 goals coming after the restart. Her reward is a starting berth. Meanwhile, up front, a throwback for Cerci and Kössler, a strike force which once combined for 23 goals in the 21-22 season to fire Potsdam to a 4th place finish. Times have changed for Turbine. Don't expect mercy to be shown. Our referee tonight, Nemi Breyer, backed up by Marie Steinmann-Schultz and Julian Jung. 4th official, Paula Meyer. As for the visitors, Kurt Russ has made wholesale changes to the side that lost 3-0 to Essen, 4 in total. At the back, young Swiss centre-back Flavia Nuscher is preferred to the more experienced Emily Bernhardt. Kramer and Ito hold down the midfield once again as Maya Hahn, Laura Lindner and last season's top scorer Kim Schneider slot in to the starting lineup. Alyssa Grinchenko and Valentina Limani drop to the bench, while Ena Tazlitsa misses out tonight through injury. A glorious night for it down in the state of Baden-Württemberg at the Dietmar Hopp Stadion, as we've raised the curtain on the final weekend of Frauen Bundesliga action before the first international break of the season. Hoffenheim looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 this month. Theodoros Dedis, their head coach, talking about wanting to take a short amount of time to enjoy the international break, but making sure that they're ultimately ready for what will be a challenging month in November ahead. For Turbine Potsdam, right now, a goal, a point, a win. They would take anything from tonight's game. The Friday night floodlights are on as we kick off match day 7 in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga at the Dietmar Hopp Stadion. Can Hoffenheim make it 3 wins from their last 3, or will Turbine Potsdam finally manage to secure their first goal, point, or maybe even win of the season? James Surrogate, your match commentator, and delighted to have the pleasure of your company as we kick off the last weekend of domestic action. And a fast start here from Hoffenheim. Not all too unsurprising. They love to put themselves on the front foot early, and that cross flashes across the face of goal. Giacourli picking up the pieces now, trying to keep the chance alive. Pass cut out at the back, but again, possession recycled by Hoffenheim. They were, you could argue, slow out of the blocks in that 3-0 win against Köln. A scoreline that was somewhat flattering to Hoffenheim. Theodoros Dedis calling for a fast start and getting one from his charges. Mehmeti's in the box, twisting, turning, finding Melissa Kössler on the stretch, gets the shot off but sees it blocked. Lisanne Kaut with the loose ball now. Lisa Dorn, her fellow defender. Back now, Vanessa Diem finding Marta Katzala. Hoffenheim with every player inside the Potsdam half. Combining well, Mehmeti Janssens into the box, it goes again. Diem finds Dorn. Back to Diem it goes. Two minutes of unrelenting pressure, perhaps indicative of what faces Turbine Potsdam tonight, though that cross making life a little bit easier for the visitors, who can now, just for a second, breathe after that frantic start from tonight's hosts. Hoffenheim did win 3-0 last time out, but only produced an expected goals of 0.7. Quick-fire double soon after half-time. First goal coming from Mehmeti, set up by Cerci, then Cerci scored the second, set up by Mehmeti. Marta Katzala then adding a third to put a bit of gloss on the scoreline in the 93rd minute of that game, but you could argue, outside of about a 5 to 10 minute spell, that Köln were the better side in that game. And Kurt Russ will have taken note of that. The Turbine Potsdam head coach, he has called for his side to be courageous. Easier said than done for a side that ultimately he will have had to pick up off the floor once again after his first game at the helm ended in a similar result. And now the chance for Kusla Corley. Neat footwork in the box, holding off the challenger as well. Now finds Vanessa Diem. Charged down by white shirts. Crowded up but given away cheaply by Turbine Potsdam. Kaut now with a chance to cross. Plucked out of the air by Vanessa Fischer. Ball forward looking for Laura Lindner, who will be stopped in her tracks by the offside flag anyway. Lindner, who has been with Turbine Potsdam for close to 20 years now. Tonight only her 62nd appearance for the senior squad, though most of her games came for Turbine Potsdam's reserve side. Kaut looking for that scything cross once again. Dealt with at the near post. Hoffenheim looking to win the ball high up the pitch. Crank up the pressure early on a side that they know are low on confidence. Rattle that early as Kusla with the header. Sees the offside flag flashed up again at the other end of the pitch now. But Hoffenheim clearly with the intention to try and rattle Turbine Potsdam in the opening exchanges. Geh drauf is the shout in the Hoffenheim ranks. Close down. The translation. They don't want to give these Turbine Potsdam players any time on the ball. Potsdam trying to adopt a similar approach, and they've turned the ball over well there in midfield. Unfortunately, very cheap concession of possession then follows. Theodoros Dedis highlighting the fact that he accepts that his side are definitely the favourites against Potsdam, but said that given they've had a change of head coach, that he didn't know exactly what his side would be faced with this evening, now that Kurt Russ, his counterpart, has had a little bit more time. Only had a matter of days before his debut game at the helm in that 3-0 loss to Essen. Essen and Natasha Kowalski in particular showing off their attacking qualities on that occasion. Potsdam chances, but could have got their opening goal of the season, and then very late on in that game, in the dying embers, denied what was a penalty. You've got to think, the first goal alone, if they can just get off the mark in that regard, it would take a huge weight off their shoulders. They knew they were going to be damn that won several German titles, not to mention a couple of Champions League titles as well. Cut back, Giaccoli looking to run onto it! And a last-ditch challenge, preventing her from punishing Potsdam there. Loose pass, says Mehmeti short in midfield. Jennifer Kramer unable to turn for Potsdam, who are now trying to work it through the ranks, though given away to Melissa Kussler, combining with Selina Cerci. Bit of a throwback for those two, taking on their former club. Combined for a total of 35 goals during their time with Turbine Potsdam, one particular season, producing 23 goals that fired Potsdam into fourth place finish. Now Giaccoli, little 1-2 with Cerci, door shut at the last. Deem helping Door now by holding off the run of Maya Hahn there. Nice ball to split the lines. Selina Cerci called up to the German national team. Christian Wück, the new head coach, taking over from Horst Hrubesch, naming his first squad as Germany head coach. And after 4 goals in 6 games and some very eye-catching performances, Selina Cerci earning her national team call-up. Here she is, edge of the area. Giaccoli, looking lively as ever. Giaccoli, lovely reverse pass to find Lisanne Kaut. Snapshot at goal. Our first notable chance of the game. Difficult for the left back from the tight angle, and she always got up and underneath it. Potsdam under the cosh early, but for all the positivity from Hoffenheim, not many chances to speak of. Vanessa Fischer now under pressure. Corley can't quite get there to the loose ball. And Potsdam in the end have really worked this well. Kim Schneider on the run now. 7 goals last season. Top goal scorer for Turbine Potsdam, the 20-year-old. And unfortunately a very poor pass at the end of a promising moment. Potsdam, they might not be the elite club that they once were in German women's football circles. Still have some very loyal supporters, some of which have made that trip down to Baden-Württemberg. Tonight is a pretty lengthy trip from just south of the German capital. Fans that have had to go through a bit more thick than thin in recent seasons, it's fair to say. Turbine Potsdam, former Frauen-Bundesliga champions. Six title wins before German reunification in 1990, 6 titles afterwards. Right now, though, they are propping up the Frauen-Bundesliga as opposed to being at the pinnacle where they once were. Kurt Russ calling for calm in his ranks, but 10 minutes played. A frantic start from Hoffenheim. Potsdam had to survive the early onslaught, but they've managed to do so. And now are starting just to find their feet in this game now. Maya Hahn gives chase. Well, it gave Katala cause for concern enough that she whiffed her first pass, but the second one was better. Now the Spaniard will let it run through to Laura Dick. Selina Cecchi's been called up to the German senior squad, but Laura Dick and Gia Corley have both been named in this new under-23 squad that Germany have created. Lots of calls for a national team to once again feature at that age level for players like Gia Corley, like Laura Dick, to be able to get international experience, even not at the senior level. Melissa Kussler held off one challenge but couldn't beat a second. Gia Corley now snapping away at the heels in midfield, but infringing upon the rules of the game in the eyes of Nemi Breyer, our referee tonight. Well, Harsh was arguing there that she got a little push in the back, and that's why she ended up fouling Karolina Kravchik. Those protests ultimately, though, will fall on deaf ears. A lot of long ball attempts from Turbine Potsdam. Theodoros Dedis maybe getting a better idea of what to expect from the visitors tonight after the opening exchanges. A few little instructions coming from the sidelines from the man that took over from Stefan Lech as head coach. Lech now focusing solely on his duties as the sporting director for Hoffenheim, of which he had a fair few during the summer, as he once again had to deal with plenty of big names and personalities leaving the club. Paulina Krumbiegel, Nicole Biller, Sarai Linder, chief amongst them. Did some nifty work on the transfer market himself, Stefan Lech. The best piece of business, without question, the signing of Selina Cecchi from Köln. Fortunately for the likes of Chiara Hahn and Feli Delicao, their start to life with Hoffenheim has been blighted by injury. Meanwhile, Selina Cecchi has really hit the ground running. Only Vanessa Fudala and Laura Freigang have more goals to their name this season than Selina Cecchi, the Hoffenheim striker. The goal she scored against Köln, against her former club, was a candidate, if not a winner, when it came to goal of the weekend in the Frauen Bundesliga. She did admit it was hard scoring against her former club, but said it's part of football, and ultimately that'll be the same approach she has to take tonight, should she get herself on the score sheet against a club for whom she made 43 appearances, scoring 28 goals. Ball into the box. Headed clear only as far as Gia Corley. Crowded out by Maya Hahn. Risky passing at the back from Turbine Potsdam, and then they find the outlet wide to Noah Selimhodzic. Fortunately, no purchase gained on this occasion. Kurt Russ talked about the priority of getting to know his team, building the foundation, understanding the individual strengths and dynamics, but did admit that he has a better idea of what they need to work on after that 3-0 loss to Essen. He admitted that the team were unsettled by what had gone on during the week, the change of head coach, the precarious position they find themselves in 6 games into the season without a single point or goal to their name. But admitted also that the quick-fire double from Essen, scored by Annalena Rieker and Lauretta Almazi, hit them hard. Said if they had had a little bit of luck on another occasion, they might have actually got their first goal of the season. A little bit of luck is what they're going to need tonight to change that fact as well. For now, some defending to do. Kaut or Mehmeti. It is Lisanne Kaut to clip one in. And straight into the arms of Vanessa Fischer. Selina Cecchi not happy with some of the treatment she received in the box there. A little shake at the head from the Hoffenheim striker, but always difficult for the referees in the Frauen Bundesliga to keep an eye on all of the jostling that goes on from set-piece situations. And make no mistake, Turbine Potsdam might not be having a nice time of life upon their return to the Frauen-Bundesliga, but they will put in a fighting shift every time they take to the pitch, and Hoffenheim are well aware of that. Theodoros Dedis wanted his side to push the action early, but did admit that this might be a bit of a patience game for his side. You could argue that's what it was last time out against Köln as well. A first half in which goal-scoring chances were few and far between. The first goal ultimately coming from a bit of a mix-up at the back by Köln that opened the door for Cerci and Mehmeti to punish, which they did. But if they can force the issue, they want to force the issue, Hoffenheim. And if they can score 4, 5, 6 goals, they want to score 4, 5 and 6 goals. They don't want to walk away lamenting missed chances. Tonight we've only really had 2 to speak of. A half chance of Melissa Kössler that saw her shot blocked inside the area, and Lisanne Kaut then firing over from a narrow angle. And this is what Turbine Potsdam can do. They can thwart, frustrate, prove stubborn. I think we saw that on match day 1 of this season against the reigning title holders Bayern München. A 2-0 win for Bayern, brought about by 2 goals from set pieces. Admittedly, Hoffenheim tonight having a little bit more joy from open play than Bayern did on match day 1 against Turbine Potsdam. He talks about his approach to football being about playing to score. Theodoros Dedis wants his side to show their highest efficiency in front of goal. But to be efficient, you've also got to carve out the chances. Oh, lovely touch by Kaut just to drive between the lines, but that's a wonderful challenge from Jennifer Kramer. Had to move the ball, but didn't quite move it quickly enough, and Corley's pressure enough to turn the ball over. Now Corley under pressure turns away from 2. Marvellous play from Gia Corley. She's got Kaut in space to her left. Cerci, Kössler in the middle. Kaut finding Mehmeti. Mehmeti bundling her way through, but ultimately stopped. Ball springs clear for Kössler. Strong challenge, but she rides it. Holds off another once the free kick. Doesn't get it. Not enough in the eyes of Naomi Breyer. Given the physical nature with which Melissa Kössler herself plays with, you can kind of understand where Breyer was coming from by not awarding that one. Kössler, unlike Selina Cerci, not having the best starts to the season, still without a goal to her name through 6 going on 7 games right now, and considering the start she had to last season where she really hit the ground running, 5 goals in the opening 2 games before a nasty injury really completely curtailed her campaign. I feel like her first goal is only a matter of time coming. Here's Cerci, Mehmeti! Hoffenheim have the lead! Just like last weekend, it's Ereletta Mehmeti who gets the first goal of the game. Her 4th of the season. And Hoffenheim have had to be patient for the opening goal. But after a very positive start from the home side, they finally have something to show for it. Mehmeti tried to play in Selina Cerci. The ball back herself and picked out that top corner.
Durch die Spielerin mit der Nummer 7, Ereletta.
She only scored 3 goals all of last season in 21 appearances. Make that 4 in 7 to start the season now for the Kosovan international. A rich vein of form, which Hoffenheim are profiting from. And a rich frame of form that has now produced the opening goal here tonight. And a moment for Hoffenheim that will just further knock the confidence of their opponents, who were low on it coming into this game. Giaccoli. Flavia Lucia on the stretch with a vital challenge. That's what Potsdam won't want to do again, is concede that quick-fire double akin to the one they did against Essen. 2 goals in less than 2 minutes for Annalena Rieker and Lauretta Elmazzi. And for Hoffenheim, you've got to say just rewards for the performance they have produced in the opening exchanges here. Katsala invited to advance the lines and then maybe just held onto it a touch too long. That being, oh dear me, I was going to say Turbina Potsdam turning the ball over cheaply, but Giaccoli returned the favour there. Kurt Russ called for his side to be courageous. Claimed that they were in phases in that 3-0 loss to Essen. So far, we haven't seen a lot from his side, but then again, the lack of possession doesn't afford them many opportunities to be brave. And you could maybe claim that they are being brave with some of their passes, but in being brave, they're sending them astray and turning possession over and making life easy for Hoffenheim. This is really the issue that Turbina Potsdam have, and it's a glaring one that keeps surfacing. I'll hold the thought as Kaut takes out a wonderful cross. Attacked by Cerci, turned behind by Mia Schmidt. Corner for Hoffenheim. Corner which incidentally is the first for either side in this game. Be taken by our goal scorer, Arletta Mehmeti. Back post it goes, Fischer grabs at it but whiffs at thin air. Gets a touch though as she puts it behind for another corner. Ooh, Mehmeti switch flanks or pass corner duties over to someone else. No, she's making her way over there. Along too is Lisanne Kaut. Something off the training ground, perhaps. Mehmeti's hand's been in the air, sending the signal. They've packed out that near post. Fired in there. Katsala with the flick on. Angle too tight. Second goal of the season for Marta Katsala, scored in that 3-0 win against Köln. She added a bit of icing to the Hoffenheim cake in the 93rd minute, adding to an effort against Werder Bremen, which was the winning goal. So playing a key part in the back-to-back wins for Hoffenheim, Marta Katsala. Always going to be difficult though, aerial prowess or not, to turn that one at the very least on target, let alone to beat Vanessa Fischer. Naomi Breyer not happy with the constant niggles taking place off the ball between the Hoffenheim front two and the Turbine Potsdam backline. Cecchi wins the header. Kössler, oh, it almost sat up for her, and then pretty nasty clip actually from Karolina Kravchik. Prevented her from getting the shot off, and Kravchik gets the yellow card. Deserves it as well, I think it's fair to say, but this is a free kick in a very dangerous and promising area from the Hoffenheim perspective. Kravchik just didn't want to give Kössler a free shot on goal. How often is it that you see a free kick in a position like this and two centre-backs standing over the ball? Mehmeti's there as well. But clearly, Hoffenheim have some free kick specialists in their back line because Mehmeti's walking away. She might be an option for a short pass here if they want to be cheeky. Katala whips it in, it's off the post! Oh! A lick of paint away from Hoffenheim, doubling their advantage. I mean, that was one of the weakest walls you'll see. Opened up, Katala clipping the post. I mean, Turbine Potsdam there with a major let-off for some terrible set-piece management. But right now you have to say the pre-match narrative was maybe again asking the question of whether Potsdam could get their first goal, their first point. I tell you what, the story is the same old one. Once again for this storied side that have such an incredible history. One of those teams that broke glass ceiling after glass ceiling in women's football. And were it not for Turbine Potsdam, teams like Hoffenheim may not even exist. They needed to lay the groundwork. But in the words of former player Anja Mittag, she said, look how good they were 10, 15 years ago. They had a huge advantage. And now, teams have passed them. And a lot of teams have passed them. They were facing an existential crisis after being relegated financially. Had to raise some emergency funds. Selina Cecchi! Same effort in the end. From a woman who I'm sure will be keen to impress today, knowing that a few more eyes will be on her after that national team call-up from Christian Vuk. First game against England in Wembley. Next against Australia in Duisburg. Cecchi will be hoping to get a chance to impress. Her form so far this season suggests that she's earned it. Plenty of players in the German national team setup with a Hoffenheim past, it has to be said. Cecchi will simply be the latest of them. Many that break into the national team tend to get snapped up by the likes of Bayern and Wolfsburg. Or in the case of Paulina Krumbigel, Juventus, actually. She was on the losing side against Bayern in the Women's Champions League in midweek. Hoffenheim featured in the Women's Champions League. That was back in the 21-22 campaign. Their first and only Women's Champions League appearance. 3 wins, 3 losses in the group stages as they finished behind Barcelona and Arsenal. Nothing to be ashamed of in that regard, though, unfortunately. In the seasons that have followed, they've always come up short of qualifying once again. The rise to prominence of Eintracht Frankfurt has certainly played a pretty big part in that. The other factor that certainly comes into play for Hoffenheim is that it's rare that a summer goes by where they don't sell big assets. And as a result, they're always kind of picking up the pieces at the start of the season. Admittedly, in the previous campaign, it was a poor end to the season that ultimately cost them a shot at 3rd place. 1 draw, 4 losses from their final 5 games, including what was a pivotal defeat against Eintracht Frankfurt, who finished 3rd ultimately. Ultimately meant that Hoffenheim missed out. Potsdam. A rare touch here in the Hoffenheim final third, and a rare touch that comes to very little from Noah Selimhodzic. Kössler caught there, she got the touch and got clipped. Kramer protests her innocence, but she caught Kössler, and Kössler was at full sprint. It didn't take much to take her down there, and it denied quite a promising moment where the Dietmar Hopp Stadion was just opening up there for the home side and Melissa Kössler. I don't understand how she can protest her innocence there. Maybe just making the claim that it wasn't enough for a yellow card, that she was happy to accept the foul, but Naomi Breyer did not see it the same way, and that's 2 Potsdam players now in the referee's book. Diem had to get there, took out Maya Hahn, who stayed down in the aftermath, but Hoffenheim are going to push forward here with Mehmeti. Jo Janssens goes back to Katsala. On to Corley now. Pocket of space for Corley to work with. Kössler, Corley. Corley still, Gia Corley! 2-0 Hoffenheim. The determination from Gia Corley, the combination play with Melissa Kössler. Hoffenheim once again break down this Turbine Potsdam backline. And while the opponents just can't get a goal this season, Hoffenheim are starting to score for fun. Gia Corley back in the starting lineup tonight after impressing off the bench in the 3-0 win against Köln. A slice of luck about the bounce, but there was no luck about the finish. A driven effort that gets the better of Vanessa Fischer, and Gia Corley has her first goal of the season to give Hoffenheim a 2-0 lead with just over half an hour played at the Dietmar Hopp Stadion. Cheeky nutmeg there from Selimhodzic. Hahn did well then to find Lindner, but in the end, Potsdam just crowded out by some determined defending there from Hoffenheim. Lara Dick, after being in the spotlight in that win against Köln for some of her build-up play as well as some of her magnificent saves that ultimately kept the clean sheet against the Cathedral City side. Got a bit of backing from her head coach Theodoros Diris as well, because there were a few panic situations, a few poor passes from Lara Dick that played Hoffenheim under pressure, and as a result they had to survive a few hairy moments at the back. But Diris said ultimately they have all the faith in Lara Dick. They want her involved in the build-up play because ultimately, as they saw against Köln, it draws the opponent forward, it creates spaces in behind, and it's a conscious risk that Hoffenheim are willing to take by getting Lara Dick involved in their build-up play. Tonight it's a very different game, because ultimately Potsdam aren't exactly pushing that high up the pitch that it ultimately would affect play if Dick got on the ball more often. She's actually had significantly less touches. Right now though, Melissa Kössler looking for a third goal, punishing a mistake at the back from Potsdam. You cannot gift this Hoffenheim side a chance like that. And Melissa Kössler, against her former team, against her Herzensverein, the club of her heart, scores her first goal of the season. And Turbine Potsdam, they're down on their luck, they're low on confidence, and it shows right now. And Hoffenheim are putting them to the sword and showing no mercy. Even a former player like Melissa Kussler has to put emotions aside. Fischer will be disappointed not to have got a better hand to the ball there. But Hoffenheim are cruising now at 3-0 up here on home soil. And Kussler said her aim this season is ultimately to stay injury-free. Well, she wouldn't mind getting on the score sheets as often as possible. But after that nasty ankle injury that seemed so innocuous when it first happened, and even in interview, Melissa Kussler was saying that it looked worse than it was. But then it proved ultimately problematic in the recovery, and it kept her out for a very long spell of the season. She's back fighting fit in the current campaign, though. And now her account, unlike that of Turbine Potsdam, is now open. Good play there from Flavia Lüscher, just producing the physical challenge against Kussler. Potsdam again try and build, and again find very little purchase in the final third whatsoever. And this really is the issue. They are a very limited side, Turbine Potsdam, and they are being shown their limitations on a game-by-game basis. And while this is a season in which only one team is getting relegated because the Frauen-Bundesliga will be expanding to 14 teams as of the 25-26 campaign, Turbine Potsdam's survival hopes still look relatively thin. These will not be the games that define their season, but signs of life are needed. And right now, we're not seeing much sign of life from the visitors, who might have the historical advantage in this head-to-head tie with 13 wins to the 5 of Hoffenheim. But in modern times, it's Hoffenheim picking up all the points. And now they've got a free kick down on the byline. As we've got another Turbine Potsdam player that goes into the book. That's Mia Schmidt now, making it number 3. Mehmeti, change of angle. There was a Potsdam head on the ball, and Katala as a result happy to let it run for a corner, and another set-piece opportunity for her Hoffenheim side, where she will once again be one of the main targets from this corner. The aerial threat that she poses, well documented since she joined Hoffenheim at the start of last season from Swiss side Zurich. Change of idea, because all the movement's now towards the 6-yard box for Hoffenheim from this corner. Mehmeti whips it into the mix. Fischer does get a hand to the ball. Bounces kindly for Melissa Kussler. Still a very difficult chance to turn on target, which she wasn't able to do in the end. Not exactly at an easy height. Tried to get a foot over the ball, but couldn't. Another tough night at the office for Vanessa Fischer. She had a clean sheet to her name at half-time. At one point this season, unfortunately. 18 goals conceded in 5 games now. She's approaching her 100th appearance for Turbine Potsdam. Says her heart beats white and blue. Right now, like many a Turbine Potsdam fan, it's a heart that is sitting pretty heavy right now based on the way this season is going for the 6-time former Frauen-Bundesliga champions. No chance to turn in midfield, but Potsdam retained possession. One of the big issues tonight for Turbine Potsdam. I genuinely can't remember a phase of possession that lasted longer than about a minute. You've got to give credit to Hoffenheim for their diligence, discipline. Not giving the visitors a sniff, really. But you almost want to lay the blame at the feet of the Turbine Potsdam players and say you just need to see more from them. It's one thing for Hoffenheim to be defending the way they are, but the onus is on Potsdam to make something happen. But again, you just come back to the point of this being a very limited side. Defensively, going forward, I mean, they won the Zweite Frauen-Bundesliga last season. Turbine Potsdam, but they were the lowest scoring side in the top half of the table with just 37 goals scored across the 26 match days. So the fact they haven't scored a single goal so far in the Frauen-Bundesliga actually isn't overly surprising. And now Corley, maybe with a chance for a fourth for Hoffenheim before the break. Kössler forced wide by the touch from Lucia. Kaut drills it in. Unconvincing comes to Kössler. On the half volley. Fires high and wide. No time added on at the end of a first half that has been all Hoffenheim. Turbine Potsdam without a win, point or goal to the name this season. It doesn't look likely to change tonight. Areletta Mehmeti got the goal scoring started. Gia Corley added a second before Melissa Kössler opened her account for the season against her former club, and as a result, Hoffenheim are cruising 3-0 up at the break.
Die Torschützin Areletta Mehmeti 2:0. Das 2:0 erzielte Gia Corley und das 3:0 Melissa Kössler.
Ja, und wir hatten es ja vor der Partie gesagt, Areletta Mehmeti hat auch beim letzten Aufeinandertreffen gleich 3-mal getroffen gegen Potsdam. Der Treffer heute ihr 4. Saisontor, 4. Saisontreffer für unsere Areletta Mehmeti. Das sind doch mal richtig gute Argumente für den nächsten Besuch im November beim Heimspiel gegen den VfL Wolfsburg. Unbedingt vormerken, am besten gleich übers Wochenende die Karte online sichern auf der TSG Hoffenheim-Seite. Samstag, 9. November, 12 Uhr. Wir freuen uns riesig. Der VfL Wolfsburg kommt. Alexandra Popp, Sie wissen es, die hat ihre Karriere, wird sie beenden in der Nationalmannschaft, spielt noch einmal in Duisburg gegen Australien ihr Abschiedsspiel. Aber in der Bundesliga wird sie hier mit dabei sein. Wir freuen uns drauf. Samstag, 9. November, 12 Uhr. Holen Sie Ihre Eintrittskarte, sind Sie mit dabei. Und auch am Samstag, 16. November, 17:30 Uhr, wenn Eintracht Frankfurt kommt. Das sind zwei absolute Topspiele, Knallerspiele hier im Dietmar-Hopp-Stadion. Seien Sie live mit dabei. Bevor wir die zwei Heimspiele haben gegen Wolfsburg und Frankfurt, müssen wir reisen, und zwar nach der Länderspielpause. Am Sonntag, 3. November, geht es zu RB Leipzig. Das wird auch keine einfache Aufgabe für unsere TSG-Frauen, aber am besten schnappen wir dort, es geht auch noch 3 Punkte, dann sind wir gut gerüstet für die Top-Begegnungen gegen Wolfsburg und Eintracht Frankfurt. Alles andere als leichte Aufgaben warten freilich auch auf die Fußballerinnen des 1. FC Turbine Potsdam. Die Fans der Brandenburgerinnen werden es wissen. Samstag, 2. November, empfängt Potsdam zu Hause im Aufsteigerduell, ganz wichtig, den FC Carl Zeiss Jena. Da geht es ganz um wichtige Punkte in dieser Partie. Und weiter geht es für den 1. FFC, diesen Traditionsclub mit so erfolgreichen Zeiten. Am Sonntag, 10. November, 14 Uhr bei Bayern 04 Leverkusen. Wir haben es gesagt, die spielen auch im DFB-Pokal in Leverkusen. Danach kommt es gleich nochmal auf Reisen, und zwar folgt die schwere Auswärtspartie am Sonntag, 16. November beim VfL Wolfsburg. Also, knallhartes Programm auch für die Turbinenfrauen. Sie wollen hier Fußball sehen, Sie wollen die TSG Hoffenheim bei den Länderspielen sehen, dann einschalten. Nächste Woche Freitag Länderspiel im Wembley Stadion in London. Die deutsche Fußball-Frauennationalmannschaft spielt dort gegen England. Sicherlich ein sehr interessanter Vergleich. Wir freuen uns, dass wir von der TSG Hoffenheim zum Beispiel Selina Cerci mit dem Aufgebot haben. Klasse Geschichte. Und da ist er ganz ehrlich, unser Trainer, der Theodedes. Es freut ihn über jede Spielerin, die in eine Nationalmannschaft nominiert wird, die in einem Kader steht. Na gut, dann gehen die Mädels halt auf Reisen, erleben mit ihren Nationalmannschaften tolle Begegnungen.
Machst du auch Wintersport?
Auch interessant die Frage, wann hat denn Potsdam sein letztes Bundesligaspiel gewonnen? Das ist schon eine ganze Weile her, mehr als 18 Monate. Es war in Freiburg, im Badischen 1:0. Hieß das Ergebnis damals am 17. Spieltag der Saison 2022/23. So lange liegt er zurück, der letzte Bundesligasieg von Turbine Potsdam. Ihre Unterstützung in der zweiten Hälfte, die gleich freigegeben wird von Schiedsrichterin Naomi Breyer. Also lautstarke Anfeuerung, vielleicht sehen wir noch das eine oder andere Türchen. Wäre ja gar nicht schlecht, wir haben noch ein bisschen was aufzuholen, was die Trefferzahl anbelangt. Wir haben ein bisschen zu wenig Tore erzielt bisher in dieser Saison.
Hello and welcome back one and all to the Dietmar Hopp Stadion. Tonight playing host to the Curtain Raiser on matchday 7 in the Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Changes being made by both sides at half-time, but Hoffenheim, the home side, far the happier, given the fact that they are 3-0 up. Coming in to the second half, goals from Erletta Mehmeti, Giacorli and Melissa Kussler, separating the sides at half-time. A dominant first half from the hosts. Turbine Potsdam, same old story, still without a goal, and no prospects of picking up their first points of the season either. So far, they've yet to have a shot on goal, as we see Marika Domasch brought on for the visitors. Julia Hickelsberger entering the fray for the hosts.
Ja, danke schön. Die Auswahl unserer Gäste aus Brandenburg haben gewechselt vom Feld in die Spieler mit der Nummer 11, Jennifer Kramer. Neu dafür in der Mannschaft mit der Nummer 13, Marike Domasch.
Kurtros will have had to find some miraculous words at half-time if his side had to get themselves back into this game, but at this point, without wanting to be patronising to Turbine Potsdam, a goal would be a huge win for them on a night like tonight, even if there are no points on offer really for them with 45 minutes left to play. The psychological boost of getting their first goal of the season could be invaluable. The question is whether Hoffenheim will leave that door open for them, or whether they really are going to kick on after a fantastic first half performance and really send a bit of a statement with a big win here against one of the newly promoted sides. Hickelsberger on for the opening goal scorer, Erletta Mehmeti. Marika Domash on for Jennifer Kramer, one of the 3 Turbine Potsdam players that was booked in the first half. And for Potsdam, that was really all they had to show for their first 45 minutes. A couple of bookings. No chances to speak of. Meanwhile, Vanessa Fischer thrice had to pick the ball out of the back of her own net. And Hoffenheim looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 in the month of October, with 3 goals to speak of in the first 45 minutes. Mehmeti getting her 4th of the campaign to join Selina Cerci as the club's top goal scorer. Meanwhile, Gia Corley, Melissa Kussler getting their firsts of the season respectively, as we get another foul throw. And I want to say it's not the first time that Jo Janssens has been penalised for that tonight here at the Dietmar Hopp Stadion. Well, one of the messages that Theodoros Dedis had before this game is that his side play to score, as he put it. And he even made a statement in his pre-match press conference saying, if we can score 6 goals, we want to score 6 goals and show our highest efficiency in the final third. 12 shots so far tonight, 3 goals to speak of. It could have been more. At the same time, Hoffenheim will be very happy with their output and delighted with the fact that they haven't even given Turbine a sliver of hope of scoring their first goal of the campaign. The question really will come down to how ruthless do Hoffenheim want to be. Interesting to note as well that throughout this game, Vanessa Diem has really been dropping in between the 2 centre-backs, Katsala and Dorn, almost making a 3-woman back line that's allowed Jo Janssens, Lisanne Kaut to push further up the pitch. Of course, adding a few extra numbers in the opposition half in a game like this, always key against a Turbine Potsdam side that want to be stubborn. But right now, don't seem to have the quality to be stubborn at the highest level, as Gia Corley breezes past her marker. Cerci on the turn, it's left to Hickelsberger, and a rare save there for Vanessa Fischer. Katsala, little drop with the shoulder, very comfortable with the ball at her feet, now finds a nice pass out wide to Lisa Dorn, her fellow centre-back, and the fact that those 2 players are both hovering in the half of Turbine Potsdam shows how advanced Hoffenheim are, as Vanessa Fischer, right place, right time to do just enough to deny Selina Cerci what would have been her 5th goal of the season. Big let-off here for the visitors, because Cerci was just afforded the freedom of the Potsdam penalty area and really should have punished, and will have been disappointed not to, given the hot streak she's had in front of goal. Would be a little disappointing if on the back of being called up to the German national team for the upcoming international break that she wasn't able to maintain her red-hot form with another goal tonight. She has had her chances, that the best of them, without question, Selina Cerci. On the turn, Julia Hickelsberger goes backwards to Katsala, tries to clip in a cross that's relatively easy for Potsdam to deal with. Corley can't quite pick up the pieces against Karolina Kravcek, and Kravcek does well there just to draw the foul from Gia Corley. Part of that new under-23 squad. A goal already tonight, now a yellow card. 79 appearances and counting for Hoffenheim. 15 goals, including the one that she scored tonight. She scored 3 times last season. Goals against Nuremberg, Köln and Duisburg. So there is something about Giacoli and seems to bring out the best in her. Born in Tacoma, Washington, has very much made a home for herself in Germany, and it is Germany that she represents at international level as well. Dawn looking for the run of Kaut. Just put a little too much on the pass. Deem goes from operating as a third centre-back to applying a very high press for the home side as they turn the ball over deep in Potsdam's half. Deem now will be wanting to offer an option for this throw-in. Jo Janssens will be hoping just to not produce another foul throw-in. Does well, finds Kussler. Holds up the play well, does Melissa Kussler to find Janssens again. Back to Deem. Right idea from Deem, wrong execution, but clipped in now towards Selina Cerci. Giacoli on the follow-up. Scuffs the effort. Stay high is the shout from the sidelines. Hoffenheim with this 3-0 advantage being encouraged to put Potsdam under as much pressure as possible. A side whose players just don't look as comfortable on the ball as Hoffenheim's do. Golf in quality, lack of composure, call you what you will. Hoffenheim tonight head and shoulders better than the visiting side, who are still yet to produce a shot on goal in this game. Potsdam now 593 minutes without a goal. Hoffenheim looking for another! And Vanessa Fischer, big save, follow-up effort. Hickelsberger kind of bailed out at the last as Hoffenheim less than 10 minutes on the clock in this second half. That's 3 times now they've gone close to a fourth, and arguably they should have one by now. Vanessa Fischer has made some sharp saves to prevent that from happening. But from Hoffenheim standards, they will expect more of themselves in these situations. Potsdam not exactly in damage limitation mode either, given the chances that Hoffenheim are now carving out almost at will. Right now, as things stand, they would move into the top half of the table. Hoffenheim into 5th place above Freiburg and Leipzig. But of course, they're getting the action underway this weekend. They are setting the bar and setting it well so far. But something tells me, given the chance they've created in this second half, given the expectations they do have of themselves, they will want more goals. Some early changes here. Selina Cerci will not be adding to her fine form, but gets a well-deserved early break. Franziska Harsch, the other player coming off, as Jana Feldkamp and Fabienne Dongus enter the fray.
Franziska Harsch, ebenfalls vielen Dank der 29, Selina Cerci. Neu im Spiel, die Nummer 31, Jana Feldkamp, ebenfalls.
Didn't get her goal tonight, Selina Cerci, but did have her moments so close to scoring a fourth at the start of this second half. Feldkamp now finding Janssens, 2 in the middle to aim for. Digs out the cross, Corley attacks, but beaten to it. No sign of Hoffenheim taking their foot off the pedal. But not quite as clinical in the first 10 minutes of the second half as they were in the first. Something tells me Theodoros Dedis, like he did after the win against Köln, will ultimately be quick to point out that his side could have an even greater sense of killer instinct in these situations. Something that he wanted them to show tonight against the newly promoted second-tier champions Turbine Potsdam. Katsala looking for the run of Janssens again and found. Selim Hordic gives chase, Janssens ball in. Similar tail of the tape. Janssens finding a lot of space, having a lot of joy down the right, but ultimately the final ball failing to find a teammate. Dongus, the most experienced player on the Hoffenheim books, Fabienne Dongus. 225 appearances, including tonight's. Here she is again. Ball in. Needed a touch, didn't get it. Dongus, who has talked about the fact that during her time with the club, Hoffenheim have developed into a team that don't have to fear anyone. They've struck fear into the hearts of this Turbine Potsdam side, as Corley, just one heavy touch, proves costly. Ball overrun and out of play. Kussler does close down Fischer, looking for that outlet pass to a wide position, but throw in taken quickly by Janssens to find Feldkamp. Feldkamp looking to feed the run of Hickelsberger, up against Mia Schmidt. Ball stays in play. So difficult, this situation for Turbine Potsdam. So easy to talk from the comfort of a commentary seat about wanting to show confidence, but mentally this is a Potsdam side who have been very down on their luck since the start of the season, and their luck doesn't look likely to change. Now maybe Selim Hordic. Oh, look at the pace of Jo Janssens there. That's why she's been converted to a right back this season. Not the most naturally gifted defender per se, but her ability to recover situations like that and almost operate in this right wing back role seems to be getting the best out of Jo Janssens. A solid debut season, I think it's fair to say, with Hoffenheim after joining from Udhevele Leuven, the Belgian side. But now converted into this more defensive role under Theodoros Dedis, and does seem to be tapping into the quality she brings to the table. Closing down Selim Hordic now at the other end. One too many snap at the heels for Naomi Breyer, the referee. Janssens arguing that it's a healthy hand on the shirt there from Selim Hordic, is now going to get more changes for Turbine Potsdam on the hour mark. Laura Lindner replaced by Valentina Limani. Captain's armband goes to the 19-year-old Mia Schmidt. Meanwhile, Alyssa Grinchenko also entering the fray now. Grinchenko and Limani, the two players dropped from the starting lineup to the bench in one of the 4 changes made by Kurt Russ.
Alyssa Grinchenko mit der Nummer 19.
Karolina Kravchik, the other player to make way. Another of those Turbine Potsdam players that was on the booking, so there's a precautionary element to the change there from Kurt Russ. Wayward pass, Selim Hodzic making a run through the middle. Needed an early ball and just didn't get it early enough. Synonymous with Turbine Potsdam's struggles, not just in scoring goals, but even creating chances, which has been glaring tonight. Against Essen, at least, they had a few half chances. In other games as well, they have carved out opportunities. And as Theodoros Dedis, their Hoffenheim head coach, pointed out, with a little bit more luck, they'd have got their first goal of the season already. Potsdam, tonight though, not even a big piece of luck would have given them a goal, because they haven't even created anything. And at this point, you're almost looking at this team and wondering where's the first goal going to come from. For now, Hoffenheim looking for a fourth. Janssens, ball in, finds Hickelsberger. This time they do get the fourth, just past the hour mark, and it's the half-time substitute, Julia Hickelsberger, that gets it as she joins Corley and Kussler in getting her first goal of the season. Much like in the first half, Hoffenheim have had to be patient in getting the first goal of the second. The first avenue to goal didn't work out, but the rebound effort from Hickelsberger, beating Fischer, all ends up.
Der Ost, hier drängt sich der Eindruck auf, als wird das heute der Tag der ersten Saisontore für viele Spieler.
Hoffenheim, 4 goals to the good. Just under half an hour remaining. And it's unlikely that the goals are going to dry up now. But this is one of the most dominant performances you're going to see all season. Turbine Potsdam haven't even had a sniff. It's a cliche term, one-way traffic in football, but there is no other way to describe this game. It has been all Hoffenheim. This game has almost been played exclusively in the Turbine Potsdam half. It's almost been played exclusively going towards Turbine Potsdam's goal. Alleviation of pressure from the visitors. There has been no threat from the visitors whatsoever. And Hoffenheim, if we're honest, are just having their way with Turbine Potsdam now. At 4-0 up, they can turn this into a training ground routine. This really is a question of how hungry are they for more goals. Here comes another! It's Kussler! It's 5, it's a quick-fire double. Turbine Potsdam can't even get a single goal this season. And Hoffenheim now have 5 to their name at the Dietmar Hopp Stadion. Melissa Kussler doubles up her goal tally against her former club. A tap-in finish from close range, thanks to a quality cross from Nizan Kaut. A 5-star performance from the home team. Their head coach said if they can score 6 goals, they should. They've got 5, 6 is forthcoming, and there might even be more on offer for the hosts tonight.
Nein, lieber Host, es steht 5-0, aber das war auch 5-0.
The stadium announcer there getting the scoreline mixed up. He said it was only 4-0.
Klasse Zuspiel, Nizan Kaut mit unserer Nummer 4 zu diesem zweiten Treffer in dieser Partie von Melissa Kussler.
The offside flag would have gone up there against Valentina Limani had the ball come through for Turbine Potsdam, but again another move of theirs, a rare foray forward, just breaking down in midfield. Absolutely no sign of a final ball being produced. Meanwhile, Hoffenheim, I tell you what, they've got 5. At the rate they're going, if they want to, and again, comes down to the hunger levels I was just talking about before the 5th was scored. It really does feel like it's up to them how much they want to punish Potsdam, how often they want to score, because the resistance now that they are being faced with is minimal, to say the very least. Corner comes in and Fischer under pressure from Katsala does well. And Fischer looking for the early release. And it's going to work out here for Selim Hodzic, and Laura Dick channeling her inner Manuel Neuer, producing that sweeper-keeper moment. She's come under a little bit of criticism at the start of this season, having taken the #1 spot from Martina Tefekovic, Laura Dick, but they clearly believe in this young German goalkeeper who will be part of the under-23 squad. So to Giaccoli! Giaccoli for a 6th! Oh, how composed! Wonderful from Giaccoli. Cool, calm, collected. To add a 6th for Hoffenheim. Plenty of salt being applied to the Potsdam wounds right now. But they've got the 6 goals that Theodoros Dedis talked about before the game. Fischer sold by the dummy. Corley with the goal at her mercy. She backs her brace, joining Kussler in that regard. Brought into the starting lineup today, she has repaid the faith of Theodoros Dedis, who is now going to make more changes. Jamila Rankin coming on for Lizanne Kaut. Giaccoli, they're credited, as you can see, with her 2nd of the season. And Fischer had plenty of blue shirts around her there, but found the outlet pass well, under pressure. So like-for-like changes for Hoffenheim. 1 at left-back, Jamila Rankin coming on for Lizanne Kaut. 1 at right-back, Michelle Weiss on for Jo Janssens. Michelle Weiss signed from Werder Bremen in the summer. Wants to take the next step, as she called it, with Hoffenheim. A former Bayern academy product that never made the breakthrough with the senior squad, Michelle Weiss, but did make over 50 appearances for Bayern's reserve team. Said she left Bayern to get more game time. She got it with Werder Bremen, which became her 2nd home. But now, as mentioned, wants to take that next step with Hoffenheim. Goal kick, I believe, to Turbine Potsdam, if I saw the indication from the referee correctly. Melissa Kussler getting a bit of rough treatment there against her former club, but having shown no mercy to them, she can't expect mercy to be shown to her. It was a bit of a risky challenge here, it has to be said. There was an element of risk involved there, and an invitation almost for the referee to potentially point to the spot. And when Naomi Bly did point down, it was the initial thought, is that a penalty or a goal kick? The indication from referees are very similar in those regards, so you always have to double check. Right now, Michelle Weiss has done well to find Vanessa Diem. Dongus not making it easy for Diem. Weiss trying to scrap back, Selim Hodzic. Oh, Katsala, what a touch that is from the Spaniard. Talk about composure under pressure. 20 minutes of normal time remaining. Turbine Potsdam will want those 20 minutes to vanish as quickly as possible. Hoffenheim look likely to make those 20 minutes nightmarishly long for Turbine Potsdam. Hickelsberger back to Giacourli, on for a hat-trick. Giacourli went for precision over pace there, and as a result, Fischer, one of the more comfortable saves she's had to make tonight. 25 goals conceded now for Turbine Potsdam in their opening 7 games. Upon their return to the Frauen-Bundesliga, the relegation at the end of the 22-23 season was a shock to the system. After a string of 4th-placed finishes, the most recent being the season before that, when Melissa Kussler and Selina Cerci were both on the books and combined for 23 goals between them. But yes, times have changed. The first relegation for the club after 26 years in a row in the Frauen-Bundesliga. Club facing an existential crisis. There was a GoFundMe account open, that's still open and still features on the club website. It's raised over 55,000 euros. The target of that GoFundMe account, though, is $250,000, so there's still a long way to go. But the Turbine Potsdam family has stepped up. It was the president, Carsten Ritter-Lang, who admitted that Turbine Potsdam cannot compete with Wolfsburg, Bayern and Frankfurt, but felt at the start of the season that they didn't have the worst hand when it came to their survival. Promised that they would continue to forge their own path and go their own way, but ultimately the aim was to establish themselves with the opportunity of only one team being relegated, a chance to secure survival, a chance to build a little bit of a foundation with that rare opportunity. Building towards former glories will not be easy for Turbine Potsdam. If they're to stand any chance, they do have to avoid relegation. But right now, the way it's brewing, I'll hold the thought, because this is a chance for Lisa Dorn, the 2 centre-backs combining in the final third there. But Lisa Dorn there with a centre-back's touch. Final change. Off the game for Turbine Potsdam as Suya Hering, the young New Zealand youth international, comes on for her first ever appearance as a Turbine Potsdam player. Signed back in January at the start of this year from Auckland United. She joins Maya Hahn on the pitch as a fellow New Zealand youth international. Noah Selim-Horjic brought off for the closing exchanges. She was the greatest source of threats that Turbine Potsdam had last weekend against SGS Essen. Absolutely nothing to show for her efforts here tonight, and ultimately that will be the way things shape up for Turbine Potsdam unless they can find some sort of salvo in the closing exchanges here. Ooh, Kazala. This is the chance in transition. Nice little 1-2. And Limani draws the foul from Hickelsberger. Not the silliest of fouls to commit. Yellow card for the tactical nature of it from Julia Hickelsberger. Only scored 1 goal last season in a campaign that ultimately was hit hard early doors as she made a recovery from a meniscus operation. And the goal came against Eintracht Frankfurt. Tonight, she has opened her account in her 4th appearance of the season. just for a moment there, Hoffenheim were starting to toy with Turbina once again, but Meyer-Hans won it well, advanced the lines. Can they at least get a shot on goal tonight? I mean, the amount of times they have had nothing to show for their efforts over 90 minutes, this is something else, because at least in the other games they've had shots on goal, they've had chances. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that for Laura Dick, tonight her 22nd appearance as a Hoffenheim goalkeeper, and I think in those 22 appearances, this is quite comfortably her easiest night at the office. The only touches she's been given of a ball have actually been by choice by Hoffenheim, getting her involved in the build-up play. Potsdam. There's an element where Hoffenheim won't want to be the team to concede the first goal to be a Potsdam score this season in the Frauen-Bundesliga. Katala, no nonsense clearance, having none of it, doesn't even want to run the risk. But this is arguably the test for Hoffenheim now. Can they maintain their composure, their style? They're 6-0 up. They're absolutely cruising to a third straight win. A perfect record in the month of August. 3 wins from 3. Perfect way to go into the international break. As mentioned, right now it would move them up into 5th place. It would move them within a point of Wolfsburg, 2 points of Leverkusen, 3 of Bayern and 4 of Frankfurt. But of course, all of those teams yet to play on match day 7, because this is the curtain raiser. Well, ball had gone out of play for Jamila Rankin. And one more change for Turbina Potsdam. Cornelia Groschitska. I think they were calling Maya Hahn. Nope. Kim Schneider. Top goal scorer for Turbina Potsdam last season, 7 goals to her name in 12 appearances. Much like the rest of the Turbina Potsdam side, yet to score this season. But admittedly today was a rare appearance in the starting lineup, only her 2nd start off the season for Kim Schneider. And a bit like the rest of her team, struggling to adapt to life at the highest level, struggling to build on the level of performance from last season. And ultimately, as they have been against Bayern, Werder Bremen, Frankfurt, Leipzig, Freiburg and Essen, they have once again had their limitations highlighted tonight by Hoffenheim. And the biggest challenge now for Kurt Russ really will be keeping his side positive in the face of what they're experiencing right now, because it's got to be pretty soul destroying to go through the euphoric event of promotion, to be excited to be back in the Frauen-Bundesliga, to have ultimately maybe saved the club from an existential crisis, but now to be facing up to 6 losses from 6, not a single goal scored. And it would be only natural for these players to be questioning their qualities and whether they do have enough to acquit themselves at the highest level and get maybe enough just to survive this season. Because the question is how many points will be needed to survive the campaign, given the fact that it looks like a 3-horse race for relegation. Potsdam, Jena and Köln. Single digits might be enough to stay up this season. 1 win, 2 wins, 3 wins may be enough. And now free kick for Hoffenheim. Back post it goes. Fischer deals with it. Hickelsberger again. Bit of a loose touch, capitalises on it. Groschitska tried to hack the heels there, rather unceremoniously it has to be said. Pressure applied by Kössler. And Lena Viarden taking no chances, just putting the ball out of play. Katsala really enjoying her football again tonight. The Spanish centre-back, you can tell by the way she has so much confidence in the build-up play, whether bringing the ball forward with a darting run of her own or trying to split the lines with one of those eye-catching passes she tries to produce. So much to like about her game, Marta Katsala. Perfect fit for this Hoffenheim side. Lovely ball! Oh, it was so close to being inch perfect. And Kussler might then have got her hat-trick. But again, you just see the high press applied by Hoffenheim, and Potsdam just cannot get to grips with it. Giacourli gets Maya Hahn to commit. Finds a pass out to Jana Feldkamp. Support out wide. Weiss clips it in. Fischer saw it the whole way. It's a lovely ball forward. One-on-one situation here. Fabiana Dongas trying to add some numbers for support, and that's where it's so hard for Turbine Potsdam. All the effort from Grosicka to get the ball forward into the final third. And nothing, absolutely nothing to show for it at the end in terms of end product. I really think we're about to have a game where Turbine Potsdam don't have a single shot on goal. And this is it, you're almost looking for just signs of life from Turbine Potsdam to suggest that they might be able to survive this season against all odds. And on a night like tonight, very difficult to find any, truth be told. Melissa Kussler. Melissa Kussler on for a hat-trick. Block at the last. Younger fans at the Dietmar Hopp Stadion holds just over 6,000. Nowhere close to being sold out tonight, but a good turnout for a Friday night under the floodlights. It has to be said. Is that another foul throw? Wow. Collector's items being produced with alarming regularity tonight. Ball forward, Katsala just trying to marshal it out of play, and as her performance all night has been, flawless execution. This is the rather bizarre thing with Turbine Potsdam. I mean, even against Bayern on match day 1, they did produce 3 shots, none of which hit the target, none of which tested Marla Kors in goal. But to go a full 90 minutes without even having a shot, that is the stuff of nightmares for a new head coach in Kurt, of course, for a side low on confidence. But unsurprisingly, not in a single game this season in the Frauen Bundesliga have Turbine Potsdam generated more than 0.8 expected goals across a 90 minutes. And that 0.8 was actually produced last Friday in that 3-0 loss to Essen. Because, as I mentioned, they did have a fair few half chances. Set pieces were very prominent for Potsdam, but tonight they haven't even got the ball forward to win set pieces in the Hoffenheim half. Melissa Kössler, she wants that hat-trick. Wasn't going to get it that way with a shot like that. Fair to say that Hoffenheim, with the plethora of half-time changes, with the 6-goal advantage, they have taken it down a gear in the last 10 minutes or so, as they have a right to do as the home side. But it is very interesting how Theodoros Ďeďis, the head coach, talked in his pre-match press conference about his side playing to score, about underlining the fact that if his team can score 6, they should score 6, and tonight, it's exactly what they've done. Admittedly, they could have had 7, 8, 9, maybe even double digits if they had been absolutely ruthless and clinical with their chances. There were a flurry at the start of the second half that were denied by Vanessa Fischer. The stadium announcer just wishing Christian Wück and the German national team luck in their upcoming games against England in Wembley, as well as Australia in Duisburg. For Hoffenheim, Sinina Cerci will be the representative. Melissa Kössler is a backup player that could be caught up in the case of injury. 2 goals to her name. Is there going to be a chance for the hat-trick? That really is the question right now. Katsala, lovely piercing pass. Dean tries to do the same, but Kössler wasn't quite on her toes there. Got caught on her heels. Kössler! Fischer denies the hat-trick. That might be the last chance she has at it. The former Turbine Potsdam player. No goals before tonight. 2 to her account now. 6 scored last season in what was an injury-hit campaign. And Turbine Potsdam might be her Herzensverein, the club of her heart, Melissa Kössler. But she wasn't about to lend them any favours tonight. Something tells me Nemi Breyer, as she did in the first half, might be quick to blow the final whistle and not add any minutes on at the end of this second, even though there have been 3 more goals to speak of. And there might be a 4th. Hickelsberger. Back to Rankin. Onto that left foot of hers. Not a bad shape on the cross. Aimed towards Katsala, but the offside flag is up. For Hoffenheim. Next game on the road against Leipzig. And then a big double-header on home soil here at the Dietmar Hopp Stadion against Wolfsburg and Eintracht Frankfurt. Those are the types of games that ultimately will determine whether they can compete in the upper echelons of the Frauen-Bundesliga this season, or whether they might fall short once again. For Potsdam, the next game is arguably a season-defining one, the way this campaign is brewing, because they're on home soil up against Carl Zeiss Jena, their fairly newly promoted side. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say they have to win that game. That has to be the game they get their first goal. That has to be the game they get their first points. Because if they don't, then their survival hopes take a mighty, mighty setback. Because you've got to think maybe 2 wins against Carl Zeiss Jena this season, home and away. That actually could be enough for Turbine Potsdam to retain their place in Germany's top tier. That being said, the same argument goes for Karl Zeiss Jena. 2 wins for them against Turbine Potsdam puts them in a very promising position. 3 minutes of time added on, 1 for each goal scored in the second half. Hoffenheim have very much managed this game in the last 20 minutes or so. The onus, the urgency not there anymore, but the chances were still forthcoming, and they're going to get another late corner, their 5th of the game.
Ja, wer noch mehr Tore sehen möchte, unser Tipp für morgen, 15 Uhr, St. Leon Roth, U20 Regionalliga Süd, unsere TSG gegen Jan Kalten. Vielleicht mal vorbeischauen. Spitzenspiel, 4. gegen 2. Wir würden uns freuen, wenn Sie dabei sind.
Feldkamp into a crowded 6-yard box, but doesn't beat the first woman. Of course, plenty of action still to come. Match day 7 in the Frauen-Bundesliga. Tomorrow, the league leaders are in action. Eintracht Frankfurt on home soil against Werder Bremen in the early kickoff. Later, it's a relegation 6-pointer between Karl Zeiss Jena and Köln. I'm sure Turbine Potsdam will be watching on with interest as Diem strikes wide. Then on Sunday, given the fact that we've got no Monday night game ahead of the international break, the first of the season, we've got a triple header on Sunday. Early kickoff, Essen playing host to Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg on the back of that brilliant win against Bayern, but a disappointing defeat in midweek in the Champions League against the record title holders Olympique Lyonnais. Then Freiburg take on Leipzig on home soil before we close the weekend's action with Bayer Leverkusen taking on Bayern München. Bayern will be looking to bounce back from that defeat to Wolfsburg, but they also had a positive result to celebrate in midweek, travelling to Italy and beating Juventus 2-0 in the Women's Champions League to make it 2 wins from 2 in the group stages. That being said, Leverkusen have had a very impressive start to this season as well. That could be a very tantalising prospect. Right now, dying embers of the game at the Dietmar Hopp Stadion. Hoffenheim, as they have done for the majority of this game, in possession, and maybe looking to fashion one final chance before the final whistle, if they fancy it. Lovely ball through. Michelle Weiss. Kussler has her back to goal. Dongus onto Katala. Katala thinking about the shot and takes it, but just like Diem, drags it wide. With what will be the final action of this Friday night encounter.
Da ist der Schlusspfiff von Schiedsrichter
Well,
Heidi Breyer. Glückwunsch an unsere
a
Mannschaft.
6-0 win that was as routine as it went for Hoffenheim.
Und damit machen wir
Comfortable from start to finish for Theodoros Dedis' charges. Turbine Potsdam failing to produce a single shot on goal across 90 minutes. Meanwhile, Hoffenheim had 26, 6 of which found the back of the net. There were braces for Corley and Kussler, goals from Mehmeti and Hickelsberger as well. Hoffenheim make it 3 wins from 3 in the month of October. Final score, Hoffenheim 6, Turbine Potsdam 0. Well, as dominant performances go, few will be as dominant as the one we just witnessed here tonight at the Dietmar Hopp Stadion from Hoffenheim. A tough start to the season after another summer of transition and turbulence where big names and big personalities left the club. But wins against Werder Bremen, Köln and now Turbine Potsdam seem to have helped the club turn the corner. The ambitions they have are ultimately to compete for European qualification. Signs tonight that they do still have the quality to do that. That being said, take it with a pinch of salt against this Turbine Potsdam side who, without wanting to be unkind to them, do look completely out of their depth in the Frauen-Bundesliga. Bouncing back from the second tier at the first time of asking. They needed to do that to keep the club's head above water. But it is going to be an almighty challenge for this Turbine Potsdam side to do that over the course of the 22 match days. Again, they just need to leave one team behind them. And while games like tonight against Hoffenheim will ultimately not determine their fate this season, they are shorn of a positive storyline right now, Turbine Potsdam. Because it's one thing to have 6 games and 6 losses, it's another thing to go 6 games without scoring. 630 minutes and counting now. And the statistics really tell the whole story. It's interesting, if the 3-0 scoreline that Hoffenheim won by against Köln last weekend was generous to them, given the fact that a 1-0 win probably would have been more reflective of the 90 minutes of football. Today, they arguably could have had more than the 6 they scored. But Dedes wanted them to show their highest efficiency in front of goal. It wasn't perfect, because they did leave chances unpunished. But it wasn't far off perfect from Hoffenheim today. This is how it started, a half chance for Ereletta Mehmeti, who is making a habit of scoring the opening goals this season. 4 goals in the current campaign, beating her tally from the previous season by 1 already. Giacoli was the only change in the Hoffenheim starting lineup, rewarded for her impact made off the bench against Köln today. She made the same impact from the start. She got the 2nd goal. Melissa Kössler then joined Giacoli in getting her 1st goal of the season up against her former club, her Herzensverein, the club of her heart. It was from Turbine Potsdam. She joined Hoffenheim in 2022. Today she got the 3rd before half-time. And after the restart, there were chances to add a 4th, but Hoffenheim had to be patient. Vanessa Fischer making a string of notable saves to keep the scoreline respectable at that point. Turbine Potsdam wanted to limit damage, but even then they couldn't really do so. And the goals were forthcoming in the second half as well. Much like the first goal in the first half, the second came from a half chance. Julia Hickelsberger was brought on at half-time, and with her first shot of the game, scored Hoffenheim's 4th and her first of the season, excuse me. And then there was a quick-fire double in the offing after Hickelsberger had fired home. It was Melissa Kössler who got involved with her 2nd of the game. This was really the final blow to a Turbine Potsdam side who were already firmly on the ropes. Kössler, who didn't have a goal to her name before tonight, now has 2 this season. She did say her big wish for 2024 is to stay injury-free, but she wouldn't say no to a few more goals as well. Another tough night at the office for Turbine Potsdam. But Hoffenheim weren't about to show mercy, and Kössler backed her brace. Giacoli followed suit. 6th and final goal of a convincing win for the home side. Giacoli repaying the faith of Theodoros Dedes, named in the starting lineup, getting 2 goals and helping Hoffenheim to an almighty 6-0 win, which unsurprisingly is their biggest win of the season. Before tonight, they'd only scored 10 goals. Now they've got 16 to their name. And as a result, as you see, it moves them up into 5th place for the moment, for the time being at least. Plenty of time for things to be chopped and changed in Germany's top tier. But Hoffenheim have got the job done. They've set the bar high in the curtain raiser for match day 7. Their biggest win since match day 1 of last season. A 6-0 win against Turbine Potsdam. James Thorogood, a match commentator, delighted to have the pleasure of a company. Plenty of action still to come in the Frauen Bundesliga this weekend. Make sure you tune in. In der C-Juniorinnen-Landesliga. Montagabend 19 Uhr geht's hier in Kraichgau zu JSG Steinsberg.
Wir sind hier mit Melissa Kössler vom TSG Hoffenheim. Das war ihr erstes Saisontor und das 2. oder auch 2 Tore in diesem Spiel. Wie zufrieden sind Sie?
Ja, natürlich erstmal mit dem Sieg. Uns war wichtig, dass wir heute dominieren. Ja, uns tat das Spiel heute sehr gut und mir persönlich natürlich auch. Die 2 Tore tun sehr gut.
Mit welchen Erwartungen sind Sie denn ins Spiel gegangen? Wurden die erfüllt oder vielleicht sogar übertroffen?
Ja, wir hatten schon Respekt auch vor dem Gegner. Also man sollte so einen Gegner nicht unterschätzen. Uns war ganz wichtig das Gegenpressing. Ich glaube, das haben wir heute gut gemacht. Und ja, auch vor dem Tor waren wir effizient und das ist ganz gut, glaube ich.
Und mit welchen Vorstellungen gehen Sie jetzt in die nächsten Spiele? Was sind da Ihre Erwartungen oder Ihre Bilanz?
Ja, das haben wir jetzt noch nicht besprochen. Also wir haben jetzt erstmal noch Länderspielpause, da wird erstmal neuer Fokus gesetzt, denke ich. Und dann ist natürlich ein paar andere Spiele vor der Nase und da wollen wir natürlich so viele Punkte holen, wie nur geht. Aber ja, wir gehen in jedes Spiel, um zu gewinnen.
Okay, vielen Dank. Nochmal herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Sieg und ganz viel Erfolg.
Danke.
Dass du mit dem Mikro ziemlich nah am Mund bist.
Okay. Der TSG.
Ja, komm ruhig hier hin.
Aber
und geh ruhig zu ihr rüber. Also
aber das ist auch der TSG,
bitte?
dann müsste ich ja auch auf die Seite, oder nicht? Das ist auch
Nochmal?
der TSG, dann müsste ich doch auch auf die Seite, oder nicht?
Ich habe jetzt gerade angesagt bekommen, dass wir wechseln,
Okay.
die Seite.
Geh ruhig näher zu
Aber
hin.
weiß ich, wenn es GF
Das ist schon okay so.
Also die Seite ist jetzt
Ja.
egal, oder?
Leg einfach los.
Okay.
Einfach loslegen.
Wir legen los.
Geh ruhig einen Schritt näher.
Ja.
Nahe dran.
Ja, wir sind hier mit Gia Corley. Wie zufrieden sind Sie mit dem Spiel? Sie waren ja sehr aktiv dabei.
Super zufrieden. Wir sind sehr zufrieden, dass wir das Spiel gewonnen haben, mal ein paar Tore mitgenommen haben. Es tut einfach sehr gut, ja.
Und was sehen Sie als Ihre Stärken im Vergleich zum Potsdamer Team?
Also wir haben heute uns halt darauf fokussiert, dass wir gegen den Ball direkt aggressiv sind und nichts zulassen und das haben wir heute ziemlich gut umgesetzt. Deswegen haben wir sie auch nicht gut ins Spiel kommen lassen und das war wahrscheinlich heute das A und O, dass wir von Anfang an direkt da waren und unser Spiel gemacht haben.
Und mit wie viel Selbstvertrauen und Motivation gehen Sie jetzt in die nächsten Saisonspiele?
Ist ja jetzt erstmal die Pause, deswegen schauen wir mal, wie es danach weitergeht. Aber es tut natürlich sehr gut für das Selbstbewusstsein und wir nehmen das auf jeden Fall mit, die Glücksgefühle und Glücksmomente und hoffen, dass wir das dann mit ins nächste Spiel nehmen können.
Okay, super, vielen Dank und noch weiterhin viel Erfolg.
Vielen Dank.
kommen gerade nach 2 Minuten.
So, wir stehen hier nochmal mit Kurt Russ nach Abpfiff des Spiels.
Also wir fangen jetzt an. Wir können anfangen.
Wir stehen hier mit Kurt Russ nach Abpfiff des Spiels. Gut gekämpft, leider hat es heute nicht gereicht. Wo sehen Sie trotzdem die Stärken Ihres Teams?
Ich habe heute nicht viel Stärken gesehen. Ich habe nur gesehen, dass wir einfach viel her dort wir sind uns. Und deshalb hat der Mannschaft gesagt, wir müssen einfach jetzt da sagen, so, das war's. Und im Prinzip jetzt haben wir eine Woche Zeit, wo kein Spiel ist, dass wir das Training ein bisschen hinaufschrauben und so. Aber so wird es nicht funktionieren, dass wir die Liga halten. Das muss an jedem klar sein. Also wir müssen an uns viel härter arbeiten. Und ich habe es ja einer gesagt, wir haben jetzt 3 Tage frei, sie haben 2 Läufe gekriegt und so, aber es geht darum, im Kopf, was wollen wir. Und wenn wir so weiter tun, da wollen wir gar nichts. Und das ist die Wahrheit.
Das heißt, wie passen Sie jetzt die Taktiken für Ihre Mannschaft an?
Wir müssen einfach alles, wir sind taktisch nicht so weit, wir sind läuferisch nicht so weit. Im Prinzip geht uns vieles ab, das hat man heute wieder gesehen gegen so eine Mannschaft. Ja, es fängt von null an und ja, wir müssen hart an uns arbeiten und ja, und dann wird man sehen, was da rauskommt.
Das heißt, wie blicken Sie jetzt insgesamt vielleicht auf das nächste Spiel oder die nächsten Spiele dieser Saison?
Ja, ich gehe so und so, jedes Spiel möchte ich mutig reingehen, aber im Prinzip geht es darum, dass wir unsere Sachen machen und die Basics, die haben wir heute dann verloren gehabt nach dem 3-0, auf einmal haben wir dann Angst gekriegt, dann haben wir gar keinen Ball mehr gehalten und ja, und das ist dann ein großes Problem und wenn es dann nachher nur hinterherläufst, dann kommt sowas raus.
Okay, dann danke ich Ihnen.
Bitte schön. Na, passt. Danke auch.
Tschüss.
Ciao, ciao. Alles Gute. Danke, tschüss. Ciao. Ciao, ciao.
Very good. Ja, wir sind fertig, danke.
Sendung ist zu, oder?
Ja, fertig.
Ja, also ich höre dich, ich höre uns, ich höre mich. Blume hab ich dich genannt, als die rote Sonne in Japan versank. Na gut, okay. Auftakt in den 7. Spieltag der Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Hoffenheim empfängt Potsdam. Die TSG seit 2 Spielen mit Siegen, letzten 2 Spiele gewonnen. Potsdam wartet weiter auf den ersten Punkt in dieser Bundesliga-Saison. Neuer Trainer an der Seitenlinie, Kurt Russ, auch ohne. Gut. Korrekt. Ja, kannst du mir sagen. Ich glaube, ich krieg's so hin, aber sag mir gern 30. Oh, sorry. Ich war kurz irritiert von dem Geräusch, das da... Ich dachte, das gehört nicht dazu, aber ich glaube, das ist irgend so eine Rassel, die da im Hintergrund läuft. Ja, das hat mich komplett irritiert gerade. Ich dachte, was ist das für ein Tonfehler? Sorry, gut, machen wir nochmal. Auftakt in den 7. Spieltag der Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Hoffenheim empfing Potsdam. Die TSG die letzten 2 Spiele gewonnen. Potsdam wartet noch auf den ersten Bundesliga-Sieg, sogar auf den ersten Bundesliga-Punkt. Mit Neutrainer Kurt Russ soll es gelingen. Das Debüt in der vergangenen Woche ging daneben. Da gab es ein 0:3 gegen Essen. Und auch gegen Hoffenheim. Potsdam sofort im Hintertreffen. 21. Spielminute. 1:0 für die TSG in Blau spielend. Da kommt Ereleta Mehmeti mit ein bisschen Glück wieder an den Ball. Gut durchgesetzt von Selina Cerci. Und dann Mehmeti mit Gefühl oben rechts rein zu ihrem 4. Saisontor. Auch in der Folge immer nur die TSG. Das ist Marta Kasaya mit wenig Kasala, dafür mit ganz viel Gefühl an den Pfosten. Die Innenverteidigerin beim Freistoß. Und dann kommt Harsch nicht an den Ball. Potsdam teilweise mit Sechserkette, nur hinten drin, kaum offensive Entlastung. Und dann 0:2 hinten in der 34. Spielminute. Gia Corley, die da ebenfalls ein bisschen Glück hat. Potsdam schießt sich gegenseitig ab. Und dann sieht auch Fischer im Potsdamer Tor nicht ideal aus. Ball geht in die kurze Ecke. Nur 3 Minuten später Fehler im Spielaufbau. Und dann Melissa Kössler mit dem 3:0. Flavia Lüscher mit dem Fehler. Und dann die gebürtige Potsdamerin Kössler, 16 Jahre bei Turbine gespielt, mit der Vorentscheidung in dieser Partie. Auch hier Fischer wieder nicht ideal, ist noch am Ball, kann den aber nicht mehr entscheidend abwehren. Damit 3:0 zur Pause. Theodoros Dedes konnte hoch zufrieden sein mit seiner Mannschaft und die legte gleich wieder richtig gut los in Hälfte 2, 49. Minute. Flanke von Lisan Kaut und dann Selina Cerci aus kurzer Distanz. Fischer hier sehr stark. 53. Minute, nächster Angriff. TSG über die bärenstarke Janssens und dann Kössler, die das 4:0 verpasst. Vanessa Fischer überragend in dieser Situation. Von Potsdam kam auch in Hälfte 2 nichts. In der Offensive nur die TSG. Nächste Flanke Janssens, der wird unzureichend geklärt. Und dann steht's 4:0. Aufbau über die zur vor kurz eingewechselte Dongus. Dann ist es Schmid, die den zu kurz klärt. Und Hickelsberger, die kam zur Pause für Mehmeti ins Spiel. Erzielt ihr ersten Saisontreffer. Nur eine Minute später. Nächste Hereingabe, nächstes Tor. Und jetzt wurde es dann langsam bitter für Turbine. Und das ging viel zu leicht. Lisan Kaut machte ein gutes Spiel auf der linken Seite. Die Flanken von Kaut und Janssens ein Dauerproblem für die Defensive von Potsdam. Und auch hier dann super abgeschlossen von Melissa Kössler. Doppelpack für sie. Und wieder nur 3 Minuten später der vielleicht schönste Angriff und das schönste Tor durch Gia Corley. Aus der eigenen Defensive nach vorne gepasst. Dann One-Touch von Feldkamp und Corley. Technisch super um die Torhüterin herum zum 6:0. Und damit war dann auch Schluss. Potsdam kassiert die höchste Niederlage der Saison, 0:6. Es hätte noch deutlich höher ausgehen können. Und Potsdam damit weiter ohne Punkt und ohne Tor in der Bundesliga. Hoffenheim holt den 3. Sieg in Folge. Oh, fuck. Da hatte ich gedacht, ich habe noch mehr Zeit. Kann man da einfach meinen Hoffenheim-Satz einfach wegschneiden? Wenn nicht, muss ich es normal machen. Dann tut's mir leid.
In der 67. Sieg in Folge ist eingetütet, ist perfekt. Und damit machen wir zumindest vor Beginn dieses Wochenendes, an diesem Abend, den Sprung auf Platz 5 der Tabelle. Das sieht doch schon viel freundlicher aus in der Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Glückwunsch und Mannschaft. Unseren Gästen wünschen wir einen guten Nachhause.
Okay, sorry. Tut mir leid. Ich dachte, ich hätte dann hinten raus noch mehr Zeit, aber sorry. Ja. Auftakt in den 7. Spieltag der Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Hoffenheim empfing Potsdam im Dietmar-Hopp-Stadion. Die TSG, die letzten. Potsdam wartet noch auf den ersten Punkt in der Bundesliga. Unter Neutrainer Kurt Rust soll es jetzt endlich gelingen. Hoffenheim in Blau, aber sofort die bessere Mannschaft, spielbestimmend und offensiv gefährlich. Jawohl. Was war los? Gut. Jawohl. Auftakt in den 7. Spieltag der Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Hoffenheim empfing Potsdam im Dietmar-Hopp-Stadion. Die TSG konnte die letzten beiden Bundesligaspiele gewinnen. Potsdam wartet noch auf den ersten Punkt in der Bundesliga. Unter Neutrainer Kurt Russ soll es nun endlich gelingen. Hoffenheim in Blau, aber sofort die spielbestimmende, die bessere Mannschaft. Corley auf Mehmeti, die versucht den Doppelpass mit Cerci. Der kommt dann mit ein bisschen Glück zurück. Und dann steht es 1:0 in der 21. Spielminute. Mehmeti versucht den Doppelpass mit Cerci, hat dann ein bisschen Glück, dass der Ball von Schmid zu ihr zurückspringt und dann mit viel Gefühl oben rechts rein. Fischer ohne Chance. 28. nächste Möglichkeit. Pfosten. Nach diesem Freistoß von Marta Kasaya mit ganz wenig Kassala, dafür mit ganz viel Gefühl an den Pfosten. Harsch kommt dann im Anschluss nicht mehr ran. Halbe Stunde gespielt. Immer wieder die TSG. Immer wieder Chia Corley. 2:0 Hoffenheim. Hochverdient zu diesem Zeitpunkt. Es spielte nur die TSG. Und dann wurden sie auch noch eingeladen, wie hier von der Potsdamer Defensive. Corley profitiert davon, dass Schmid Vianten anschießt. Und dann sieht auch Fischer nicht gut aus. Der Ball schlägt im kurzen Eck ein. Nur 3 Minuten später. Fehler im Spielaufbau bei Potsdam. Kössler dazwischen. Melissa Kössler. 3:0. Das ist so einfach. Potsdam mit einem ganz schlimmen Fehler im Spielaufbau und dann die gebürtige Potsdamerin Melissa Kössler, 16 Jahre bei der Turbine verbracht. Und wieder sieht Fischer nicht ideal aus, ist noch dran, kann den aber nicht mehr abwehren. Und so ging es dann mit einem hochverdienten 3:0 für sein Team. Das von Theodoros Dedes in die Kabine. Es hätte auch schon höher stehen können. Sprung in Hälfte 2, nächste Riesenmöglichkeit für Hoffenheim. 49. Minute. Die wieder gut aufgelegte, aber glücklose Selina Cerci nach Flanke von Lisan Kaut. Fischer hier stark. 54. Minute. Nächster Angriff über rechts. Diesmal Jansens mit der Hereingabe. Und Kössler, die an Fischer scheitert. Guter Ball und Fischer dann aber mit einer tollen Reaktion bewahrte ihre Mannschaft hier vor einem höheren Rückstand. Der folgte dann aber knappe 10 Minuten später, 63. Minute. Das ist die eingewechselte Hickelsberger zum 4:0. Dongos, auch sie zuvor reingekommen. Dann die sehr starke Janssens über die rechte Seite. Die Flanke wird zu kurz abgewehrt von Schmid und dann Hickelsberger ohne Probleme. Auch sie kam zur Pause für Mehmeti in die Partie, erzielt hier ihr erstes Saisontor. Und jetzt war die TSG auf den Geschmack gekommen. Eine Minute später Kaut und Kössler mit dem 5:0. Lisan Kaut machte genau wie Janssens auf der rechten Seite eine richtig gute Partie. Ihre Hereingaben immer gefährlich. Und hier dann auch mit dem 5:0. Und dann wieder nur 3 Minuten später der vielleicht schönste Angriff dieser Partie. Das ist Chia Corley, die das halbe Dutzend voll macht. 6:0 in der 67. Minute. Aus der eigenen Abwehr rausgespielt, dann Feldkamp One-Touch und Corley mit viel Gefühl um Fischer herum und dann hinein ins Glück. Das dann auch der Endstand. Es hätte deutlich höher ausgehen können. Potsdam holt sich eine Abreibung, verliert 0:6 in Hoffenheim, bleibt damit weiter punkt- und torlos in der Bundesliga.
Der Tabelle, das sieht doch schon viel freundlicher aus in der Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Glückwunsch unsere Mannschaft. Unseren Gästen wünschen wir einen guten Nachhauseweg, einen sicheren Nachhauseweg.
Bundesliga Hoffenheim. Auftakt in den siebten Spieltag. Wird 0:6 in Hoffenheim, bleibt damit weiter punkt- und torlos in der Bundesliga.
Der Tabelle, das sieht doch schon viel freundlicher aus in der Google Pixel Frauen Bundesliga. Unseren Gästen wünschen wir ein